Hey everybody, I have no agenda or plan. This is kind of impromptu. Uh, Not much as far as comics go. I will say I did not take advantage of the Phantom book sale. Part of my strategy is, well, I wanted to buy $50 or more worth of books and get them today. They already been published, things that I really wanted, and then have the other 50 for something in the future. I know the Caddy's being released in a month, and I think Richard Sala's book is coming out in May. So I was looking forward to those things. But War on Gaza was one of the books that was sold out before the Fanta book sale, so I got it from my LCS. And Noah Van Sciver's book, which is one that I really wanted, is already sold out at Fanta's website as well. So I got to the position of like trying to figure out what did I want, and I figured that if there was nothing that jumped out at me, that I would just go ahead and say, well, forget it. But I did get two books. So one of them was Ines Estrada's uh, Lapsos. This is a self-published collection that was not self-published. I'm sorry, it was published. I think originally self-published, but then it came out in English from a Swedish um, publisher called Sebon Kultur, and never heard of it, but I love Ines Estrada, and I got the idea from seeing the video that was uploaded today by Best Small Press. I put that in my stories. Ines Estrada did Alienation, came out in 2019. One of my favorite um, graphic novels. Um, you should read it. It's hard to find. Hopefully, it gets reprinted. Currently, what I'm reading, I am reading Mouse. Um, I got this for $16. This is the like $40, I think, or $35. $35. I got the $16 brand new at MegaCon. I figured it was time to read this work, especially these days. And going on and continuing with my Love and Rockets journey, I am reading Volume 5 of the Complete Love and Rockets. And shortly I'll be doing a video for number 4. Other than that, what else did I get? I ordered something else online. Now I just can't remember what it is, but I know at the time that I saw it, I was like, hey, I gotta get that. So, oh, I got Beautiful Monster, the book out by Bubble Zine. Um, a lot of people, the circles of comics people that I follow, have really had a lot of praise. A lot of people talking about it. It seems like something that would be similar to like the Smudge imprint. And so I decided to buy it directly from the publisher. I could have gotten it from my LCS, but and saved on the shipping and tax. But I decided to just give it to Bubble Zine just so they can make a little extra money off of it. Sometimes we got to support these small publishers, these creators, even if it costs a few more dollars out of our pocket, because it benefits them. Other than that, um, not much else is going on. Um, I'm not good at this. I hope no one sends comments because I'm going to be like doing this and trying to figure out what anybody is saying. Uh, Not much else is really going on. Just another week of looking forward to read some comics. I got um, my mail order coming in next day or two from Phantom. I got a lot of great books, so I'm going to publish. Um, oh no, I'm not. No, not your bad. It's more like I saw flames, and I'm like, oh, do I have to respond to that? Like I said, I'm not good at this. Oh, how was my day? My day was good. Um, I got a lot of work coming up, and I was going to work a little bit today from home. And my wife gave me the best advice, and she said, "You know what? You got a long week coming up. Just take today off and take it easy." And I did. I sent out a newsletter today, and trying to get back into writing and improve my writing. Um, been active on social media when it comes to comics. It's been hard to find time to do that lately, between a lot of hours at work, um, you know, having a life outside of comics, reading comics, and then trying to create content for comics and trying to fit sleep in there somewhere. Um, but I really dig it. So it's not really work for me. Hi, hi, Cindy, whoever you are. I'm sorry. I should have more subscribers because I'm really nice. Oh, that's nice. Um, you know how hard it is to get subscribers and how to get um, traction. It's almost impossible. This way people do extreme things, like crazy things, because they want to get eyeballs. I'm an old, boring guy, so it's not like you're going to see extreme things. Uh, I should. That's nice of you. Do I have any Argentinian comics? I do not. Um, the only one that I've ever read, oh my God, what's the gentleman? It's that famous graphic novel, the one about um, aliens invading. The gentleman eventually was on the run and captured by the then Argentine government, and him and his wife and his family, excuse me, were all assassinated. The Eternaut, yes, I read that 4 years ago. That was outstanding. That's the only one that I've ever read. I really don't know much about Argentine comics. I'm sorry. Do I play video games? Not really. I used to be pretty bad at them when I was back in the 80s on the Sega Genesis. And just even in the arcades, the old school arcades from the early 80s, I was okay, but I was never really great, so I just never pursued it. My two sons are really good at them, though. Um, yes, Osterheld, and I know that he created another graphic novel. I don't know if he did one about Che Guevara. I think there was something else that he did before he was assassinated by the Argentine military. Um, I remember reading about that, but I haven't had time to really, unfortunately, research that. And like I said, I really don't know much about Argentine, the comic scene. I know mostly America, and I know a couple of people in Europe. I'd like to know more about Mexico and other parts of the country. I mean, excuse me, other parts of North and South America. I mean, South America, really, South and Central, and all the parts of the world. There's just so much. Um, it's like once you realize like you learn this much, and then you realize that that is like a drop in the ocean to what's out there. Mort Cinder. Okay, I did not know Mort Cinder was Argentine. Um, um, I'm sorry, I did not know that. Okay, I'll check it out. I've heard that title. Okay, I'll put that on the list with my 40 other graphic novels I have to read. Um, don't know. Just have a lot. I've been accumulating a lot, so I've been trying to put the buying down, but I've been trying to read through a lot of books, just because I don't want to, die with like 100 unread graphic novels. I like to read them all. Mort Cinder. Okay, I'll write that down. Cinder. Okay. That's it. I really have nothing more to add. Spanish comics. I don't know anything about Spanish comics. I know that Spanish artists usually are used on the Cinebook, um, English translations of Franco-Belgian um, comics, and those artists are amazing. Some of the work they do is just stunning. Puts American comics to absolute shame. Um, but I don't know much about him. I think there was one. He did a book called The House. At least it was called The House in English, published by Fantagraphics. My memory, so everything's on the tip of my tongue. I swear it's after COVID that happened 5 years ago. Um, but Paco Roca, correct. I'm familiar with Paco Roca. Um, as far as a cartoonist goes, being a known cartoonist, but I know Spain has a really long history of great comics and great artists. I just don't know much about it. Um, the internet makes it easier, but unless you know someone that's tuned in into Spanish and Argentine comics or Belgian comics or Japanese manga, it's really hard to find that. I mean, you can research it, but it's usually easier when somebody, like comics have always been, they're viral. Somebody tells you, hey, this is a great comic, or introduces you to work. So I don't know much about it, but it's more like I don't know people that know a lot about it that can introduce me to that kind of work. But yes, um, but I mean, there's so many other comics that I'm totally unfamiliar with. I'm not an expert. Um, I just been just trying to devour as many small press, independent, international comics and manga in the past 5 years. I've only really discovered manga and independence maybe 6 years ago, maybe less, a little less. Um, and so I feel like I'm decades behind. So I've been like trying to catch up, and I've been just reading constantly the past several years. And so I create content really just because I like it. And maybe I'll talk about a book that somebody hasn't seen before, and they'll say, "Oh, I never knew about that," because that's how comics really works. You have to be viral. You have to let people know. It's sort of like the old days of music before you had the internet. You tell someone, "Hey, this is a great album. You should listen to this because I know what you like." Hello, Jilan. And you're like, "I know what you like," and so um, you turn them onto that, and you say, "Hey, well, if you like this band, back when you had bands, not now where everybody's just doing a remix and people are doing hits and singles like the 60s. Then you say, well, if you like this, then you probably like that. And then it's the same thing with comics. Like, oh, you like I like Yoshihiro Tatsumi. He's my favorite mangaka. It's like, well, if you like that kind of style of work, then you'll probably like Suge. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, so it's that sort of thing where, like, if you once somebody figures out what you like and what kind of style you like, then they'll say, "Hey, there's other people in making comics in that style." So that's my long-winded reason as to like why I don't know much about um, um, Spanish comics or European comics. Don't tell me European graphic novel from the U.S. that needs more recognition. Oh man. Well, I was going to say Worm, but Adele Rodriguez, but that's gotten critical acclaim in France and internationally. I met him. His family lives in Miami. He lives in New York. And so I actually got to meet him at the Miami International Book Fair year and a half ago. Let me see, US one. It depends on what genre. Um, I don't know if how prevalent Joe Sacco's work is international. I think anything he writes is amazing. No Man's Skyver is pretty funny, but I think he's more attuned to American taste and American humor. But I could be wrong. Uh, man, that's a good one. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. I didn't have an answer prepared. Um, let me see. Let me see if as long as okay. Let's see what I got here. Let's see what I got here. Okay, this is very good. This is called Bearing Straits by Tom Manning. Um, Tom Manning is an American cartoonist that people don't really talk about very much, and he's outstanding. Um, Alice Graham, Dog Biscuits is very good. This was done during the pandemic, so there's a pandemic theme to it. Uh, what else? This is not on my books. It's just the ones I have here. I have a second place to stash a lot of my books. Uh, this one I'm starting to read, The Library Mule of Cordoba. It's about that one's pretty good. That might be one that needs more. But I don't know if that's a European graphic novel that was translated into English or not. And and if that was hard to say, this is like totally unplanned. And wow, that's awesome. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Did I hide somebody? I don't know how I did that. Huizenga is American, yes. I think he's from Hawaii, to be specific. He's excellent. I mean, the last book he came out with was 3 years ago, maybe. He's excellent. I'm sorry. I'm confusing Kevin Huizenga with someone else. Yes, Kevin Huizenga is very good. Don't know his most recent work. I read a little bit of it. Very good. It's just more getting um, time. Yes, as far as I know, Kevin Huizenga is American. But yeah, Tom Manning is somebody that is. very good. I recommend. There's just a lot of good stuff. But Worm by Adele Rodriguez is a really good story. It's his life story about how he as a kid was in Castro's Cuba and he came to America during the Mario boat lift and then adjusting to America. It talks about life under Castro. Um, and then he's here and he's drawing analogies. And this book came out in 2023, maybe. And he's drawing analogies to um, Trump's America and the rise of fascism to dictatorship and fascism in Cuba at the time that he grew up with. And this is before, this came out, like I said, 2 years ago. It's an outstanding graphic novel. It's called Worm. And it's been translated in French. I think it's been translated in Spanish. I think it's been translated in more languages than that. He's gone to Paris. He's gone to France. He's won awards. He's spoken in Paris. And Paris. If you've never been to Paris, I mean, if you have been, you're European, But Parisians and French take comics as a serious art form. So when they invite an American there, that is high praise because they take that as a serious art form. It's not like here where a small percentage of people take. There, they know it's like this is serious art. Um, don't really. Let me see what else am I doing. I will tell you, I've never read these. I've never read Love and Rockets, and I know that Fantagraphics has come out with like 1,000 different collections. If you could find these trade paperbacks, there's 15 of them. If you're ever interested in reading them, if you don't have them, I think this is the best way to read them because they're the same size of the comics. They're easier to read than those big hard covers, and you can get these between $8 to $15 at most American. Sometimes you can get good deals. You can, find someone that's selling four on eBay and you combine shipping, so it's a lot cheaper. I mean, if you're international, it's harder. But if you ever are looking to read that and you don't have them, this is the first volume, the first 50 issues. This is the way to go. Um, Infinitely. And these books are like 30 years old and they still look brand new. I have a Instagram. Instagram is RC underscore comics. RC underscore COMIX. That is my Instagram. That's my comics. And mostly comics, sometimes music, but mostly comics. Once in a while, I'll put a social commentary up there, but I try to keep that out. I think things like channels, like you can have a personal channel where you can express like a lot of your personal viewpoints, and then if you have a comics one, it's like it's comics. I think we need to kind of separate and take a break. We got to find safe places where we can just like disengage from the hellscape of the world for at least a few minutes. And so it's 98% comics. Yeah, yeah, the Hernandez brothers. I mean, I've always known about how great they are, and I've always heard about how great they are. But it's amazing to see, like, when you read the first collection, you go from issue one to like by issue three, and how good they got, and how good they are. It's amazing. You can see where so many people got inspired by them. I mean, when I was in the 80s, I started reading comics in 1974, and I read superheroes till about 2019, and I just got tired of them. And then I found manga and independence, and it was like a rebirth. But in the 80s, I wouldn't have appreciated Love and Rockets or a lot of that stuff. I know that I wouldn't have appreciated it. I wasn't mature enough. Now, that's the kind of stuff I want to read. I don't really care about superheroes. I'm not knocking them, but it's like Japan. In Japan, they say that everybody reads manga, but as you get older, you read different types of manga. To me, it's the same thing. It's like I'm still reading comics, but I just don't want to read superheroes anymore. I'm tired of seeing multiple reboots, of stories. I think when I was reading comics in the 80s, especially from Marvel and DC to a point, there's just a lot of classic things that I read that are hard to top. Like I read the first Daredevil Moonlight Run. I read John Byrne's X-Men. I mean, just a lot of great stuff. So I read a lot of stuff then, as far as the superhero world goes, that is really hard to kind of like top. I mean, I'm sure there's other runs and stuff, but I've read a lot of good stuff. Alan Swamp Thing, I still have those original issues, and so for me, um, oh, thank you. Um, for me, it's like um, now I just want to focus on independent small press. I find that for me at this point in life more interesting. Appreciate that. Uh, what else? Like I said, I had no agenda and no plan. Oh, here's another comic book creator that's American that really not many people talk about. Um, Tim Lane. This is a second issue of an anthology he's doing called Mythologies and Apocrypha. He's done a few other books. This is historical fiction where the center of the storylines is the former American actor Steve McQueen. Um, the cartooning he does in this book, I don't know how available these are internationally, but the cartooning he does in this book is just really amazing. And there's different styles. See, now we're having color and it looks a little pulpy. Then he's doing modern color. And then he does this um, like almost like 1940s, 1930s, almost like a George Harriman. I don't know about George Harriman, maybe like a George Harriman kind of style. You know, um, he's a fascinating American cartoonist. Tim Lane. Fantagraphics publishes his work. So if you want to hear somebody else that nobody really, not many people talk about, but who's really good, that's someone. I feel the same. Feel the same about what? I've been rambling, so I don't know. What else? Um, Also, there's a lot of people on YouTube that I follow that are putting a lot of great content. Loading the Canon, that's one word that's Colin Blanchett. He's someone whose intelligence and knowledge of comics and collection of original art and comics I admire greatly. I have a lot of respect for him. Uh, that's someone you should consider following. Loading the Canon, Canon. Um, that's a great channel to follow. There's one called Best Small Press. Um, it's one word. It's a collector in the UK who specializes in small press mini comics and zines. Just really fine. Yes, Lale Westfin is outstanding. I've seen some of her work. I never got her first major graphic novel. Um, and I know that she has a second one that's come out, but she's very good. Very, very, very good. A lot of different styles fused into a style that's uniquely her own. I think very good. I agree. I haven't had a chance to read a lot of it. I mean, there's so many people that I have not read that I wish I would read. And people say, "Oh, have you read this?" I say, "No," but it's not because I don't want to. It's just because time. Like if I would have started reading Independence 15, 20 years ago, then I wouldn't have had to read all the stuff that I'm reading, that I've been reading the last 5 years to catch up. Um, so, but that's someone who I know is really good. Uh, what else? I think I've run out of things to say. And if you know me, that's a hard thing to do. As I said, I didn't really have a lot of items planned. But if you have questions, you can always shoot me a question in the comments. What about Zero Casare? Zero Casare? No, I don't know Zero Casare. I don't know. That is that's a new name to me. Um, but he's Italian, and Italians make great comics. I recently got a very nice graphic novel about the life of Audrey Hepburn that was published in Italy last year, 2 years ago, excuse me, and then it was published in English last year. Um, it was Italian. Italian written, Italian artist. It was pretty good, but I know the Italians have great history. I think is Gippi Gippi is he Italian? Because I read it stands for something, but it's a four letter title. My Badly Drawn Life, MBDL. Is he Italian? If so, I read that 2 years ago, and of course, I'm familiar with. I don't know if I'm not. I don't. I know Crepax is Italian. Yes, GP is Italian. Yes, I read that. I enjoyed that book very much. That was recommended by my friend Colin, Loading the Cannon. Um, but I haven't had the chance to read as much. But the Italians, I should say, in all fairness, take comics as seriously as the French and the Belgians do, and the Belgians do. Um, Europe just seems to take a lot of really cool stuff seriously. I mean, in a lot of ways. I'm an American, raised and born here, but born and raised here, excuse me. But Europeans do a lot of things better than we do. We do some things better than they do, but they do a lot of things with the arts and music that are sometimes cooler than what we have here. Um, that's just my opinion. And I've been, where have I been in Europe? I've been to Paris and I've been to London. I enjoyed Paris. I'd like to go to France again, um, maybe see more of the country. But as an American, even though I'm a citizen and I was born here and, you know, and I have no arrest records or anything, I'm kind of concerned about leaving the country and then coming back. Even though I don't have anything on my record or any problems. I'm like a boring citizen. Oh, and I'm familiar with. I've read a little bit of Dylan Dog. That's the other Italian work that I've read that I know about. Uh, that's it. Um, I'm going to sign off because I thought I was going to be here for 5 minutes and it's been 27. I, as I said, if I, oh, Zero Casare is the new bestseller from Italy. He also has two cartoon shows on Netflix. Oh, okay. I have to do research on that because I am not. Is Zero Casare, is that the title or is that the cartoonist? It sounds like it's the title. Um, and if so, I'm going to have to see when they're going to translate that into English. Um, I'm one of these people that, like, I know there's some people that they've gone to Angoulême and they've gone to other countries and they've bought comics and they bought comics just for the art, even though they don't know what's going on. I like to be able to read it. I don't speak Italian. I was in Italy in 1999 for a few days. Okay, you looking for Italian comics? Diabolic. Yes, I've heard of Diabolic. Oh, Zero Casade is a cartoonist. All right, I will definitely look up. I will. Yes, I've heard of Diabolic. Okay, I'm gonna have to add that to the list. That might be a 2026 item. And I'm not being facetious. I still have 35 graphic novels to read, and it's March. Um, and I'm sure I'll buy a few along the way. I have a few coming in um, on their way um, in the mail, in the post next day or two. Um, but it's been a while since I bought anything. So I my store is in another state, but they have such great customer service that I don't want to shop anywhere else. And I live in Miami, and Miami overall, the comic book stores are they're good if you're into buying Funko Pops and buying Marvel and DC and superheroes. But if you're looking at independent small press zines, you're not going to find that. I went to San Francisco and I went to Silver Sprocket, and that is the kind of store I would love to go to. Unfortunately, we don't have it here. I'd spend all my money there. Okay, check out the shows first and then look for his books. Okay, I will do that. Um, but yeah, there's just so much that's out there, and it's great because um, I'm someone that gets bored if I'm watching or listening or reading the same thing over and over again. Like my musical tastes are eclectic, so are my comics. So when I can find new and different work, it keeps everything nice and fresh. Desert Island, New York City. I've never been there. I was in New York City for a few days, but I didn't have time to do any real comic shopping. Normally, when I go to a different city, I take one day to visit, two or three comic stores. Um, but I wasn't able to do that in New York in December. I did it in San Francisco. I did it in London. I did it in France, Paris. Any place I go to a city, it's like at least like half a day, and I'll go there. What a name! Which which name is that? Oh, oh, Desert Island. Yes. Yeah, I think they moved to a new location. Um, it's in Williamsburg. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go. American Splendor. Yeah. So um, usually I do pick a day, but I didn't get a chance. When I went to Boston a few years ago, I went to Million Year Picnic. That's a great store. Million Year Picnic. I was in Michigan. I visited, so I like to do that, but I didn't get a chance to go there. Happens sometimes. I will be going to SPX 2025 in September. My wife is from that area, DC, near DC, and we have family friends that live. We have friends that live there, so get to visit them, and I'm going to spend one day there. It'll be my first small press and indie comics convention, so I'm looking forward to that. Um, and it's a lot cheaper than flying to Toronto for TCAF or flying to the West Coast, which I would love to do one day. But air flights and hotels, these were actually pretty cheap, but they've gotten very expensive lately. Laughing Oregon is very good. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go to Columbus. I know, besides the Billie Eilish Museum, I know that they have some great shops, but um, this is something that I have to kind of convince the wife to go. And I know Columbus, Ohio is not high on her priority list of places to visit. So um, that's going to have to be like down further. Um, but I've heard of that store; it's supposed to be good. And I think MS Harkness is from around that area, uh, and Durf Backdurf is also from Ohio as well. I just finished reading his Jeffrey Dahmer book. I thought that was excellent, and I'm looking forward to reading Kent State. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Harvey Peaker's Ghost. I agree with you. No offense to the people that live there, man. I mean, like I live in Miami. People think, oh, you live in Miami, but I have a love-hate relationship with this city. Um, I liked it better 20 years ago, 25 years ago, than I do now. Yeah, Kent State looked really good. Um, and like I said, I read a Jeffrey Dahmer book, and I thought that was great. Well, my name is Ray. Um, Ray. To be technical, it's really Ramon, but because I was born in this country, but my family emigrated here from Cuba in 19. My dad came in 59. We brought my mom and brother over in 1960. But everybody here knows me as Ray. I Americanized it when I was young. Um, Sometimes you have to do that to kind of fit in, especially Miami back then, which was a little bit more like the South. Not as much anymore, but everybody knows me as Ray. Man, I'm not prepared for questions. Yeah, Durf is definitely a must-read cartoonist. Um, yeah, like I said, the Jeffrey Dahmer book I thought was really good. I thought it was very nuanced. I think he went out of his way to not paint him sympathetically, but there's a lot of this. You're um, a kid and you have issues, and your parents are just kind of like oblivious to it. I grew up as a kid in the 70s, and I graduated high school in the early 80s, so I could totally sympathize with growing up like that. I remember that from that book. I was like, you had to kind of grow up in that era where kids parents just kind of let you alone and just let you kind of grow up. Come on, Ray. Same here. I gotta go too. As you two, you do the same, Kevin. Actually, I do have to go. Did you get in on the fan of it? No, I did not. I did not get into Phantom Bucks promotion because my original my original strategy was I was going to buy a set of books that they had in stock that I really wanted, and then I would use a $50 credit for some books in the future, maybe The Cabbie, maybe Knight Rider, or Night whatever Knight Rider by Richard Sala. But um, the War on Gaza was already sold out. And then Noah Van Sciver's new book, he's my favorite cartoonist. It was sold out. So there was nothing there that really I really want to get my hands on. So I kind of like held off. Yeah, Cabby looks really good. I mean, I still have an hour and a half, but that Cabby book looks really good. And that one is something that's on my list. But I have a lot of graphic novels to read, and I would feel better once I start making a bigger dent in that, if you really want to know. No, no, pre-orders do count. I know that. But, it was sort of like I have a lot of books coming in tomorrow. I mean, I did my mail order and it's been like 6 weeks and I had a lot of stuff come in. So I already had a lot of stuff come in, and then I'm going to spend more money on comics and all that. I like to like kind of control myself a bit. And tomorrow I have a pretty large order. I have a few books. I had the new Kaza book, Arcania the Lost Titan. I had that thing coming in. That was kind of expensive, but it's supposed to be beautiful. Um, that sort of thing. Been unread books still too, for sure. Yeah, I actually have an app where I can you scan the barcode and you can just have it as in your queue as books to read. And I did some at the beginning of the year and there were like 50. So now I'm down to like 35, but I'm going to get a few more. So I'd like to get it down to a manageable number before I start really piling on adding more. And I'm sure the Cabbie will be around in a few months, and the other books that I looked at will be around in a few months. So it's not like I don't have anything else to read. Yeah, but there was a new Kazaa book. Well, it's not a new book. It's a complete collection. It's being published by Humanoids of his Arcady and the Lost Titan. That's a story that he's been working on for like 20 years, or he worked on for 20 years. And it's a new collection. It's colored and everything. It's this one big 528 page volume. Um, it's a little bigger, I heard, than a normal hardcover, but that's not huge, like an artist edition. But it came out as a Kickstarter last year. It was successful, and so then now they're printing it available. You can just look under Arcadi, Arkaid, Raka. No, sorry, Rakadi, Arcadi and the Lost Titan, and Kazaa, and you'll find it Barnes and Noble, Amazon, DCBS. If you want to get discounts, it's widely available. It's just that the art looked really great, and I figured for that. Um, that I didn't read the tribute comic that Jasper did, but yeah, if you can just Google Arcady and the Lost Titan, and you'll find a lot of press about it. It's supposed to be a really beautiful book, and I'm a huge Mobius fan, a really huge Mobius fan, and I know Mobius, Druyer, and Kazaa were all contemporaries. So I figured that if he was Kazan's running around with Mobius and Druyer, that means his stuff had to be out of sight too. Yeah, you're gonna have to check that out if you like his work. Like I said, but it's 84.95. It's really expensive. You're paying for that book, and I was gonna actually get it online and get a little bit of a discount. Oh, okay, Zine Panique. Oh, okay, I probably missed that then. Um, but I remember yeah, the humanoids book is expensive, and I had asked my LCS, hey, and they said, can you order it? And they said, oh well, our distributors say it's been canceled. But I saw other stores and retail online places have it. So I said, well, you know what? Let me hold off, and then maybe I can order online, maybe find a discount. But it really wasn't going to be that saving that much money once you add shipping and sales tax. But then my LCS sends me a picture. The manager sends me a picture, messages me, sends me a picture, and says, "Hey, this came in." So I'm like, "Oh, you were able to get it." Oh, I guess I'll get it then. So that money, I was gonna actually that was actually came out. I decided to be fair to myself. I took that money out of my Fanta Bucks budget, and I have a few other ones coming in. So that's kind of also why I was kind of like not as eager with Fanta Bucks because there's an $85 book that I did not plan. That's a huge splurge for me. That's a huge splurge. Huge. I never do anything like that, but I figured um, they ordered it, and I'm not gonna tell them I don't want it. So I said, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, and I would check DCBS and some other sites because they'll have discounts. And even if you add the shipping and the sales tax, I did the math. I think the cheapest I would have gotten like one for like, I would have gotten it for like 73 bucks. When I get through my LCS, I pay flat shipping, and they don't charge me sales tax because their state in Florida don't have reciprocity. That's a fancy word for saying that you don't do enough business to where you have to charge sales tax. So when I did all the math, I would have saved like 12, 13 bucks if I ordered it online. So but I never ordered it online for some reason. I just kept putting it off, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, it's a beautiful book. But I would search online. I keep thinking DCBS had the best deal when you factored in everything, including shipping and sales tax. I don't know if stock in stock trades will have it or not, but I think that to me that was the best deal because some places will give you like this massive discount, and then they add shipping and all this other stuff, and by then you're really not saving very much money. You're saving a few bucks because they'll give you 30% off, and then they'll charge you like $12 shipping, which is ridiculous because they're going to send to you media mail. Yeah, in stock trades for 63, and then if you add the shipping, I think their shipping is free if it's over 50 bucks. Yeah, that's what it was, 50 bucks, and then there's sales tax. So I think you end up paying maybe $70 at most. So that's probably the best deal because in stock trades, I think it used to be over 50, they had free shipping. So, and yeah, supporting the brick and mortar is always good. Good brick and mortar stores are really hard to find. Yeah, 68.80, not bad. That's the cheapest you're going to get it. And that is uh, 17. That's a lot cheaper because once you add 84.95 plus sales tax, I don't know what it is in your state, but let's say it's 7%, you're talking $6. You're talking about 91 bucks. So if you get it for 88, 68, 69 bucks, you're saving like 23, 24 bucks, which is a lot of money. I mean, you can put that in your car, you can buy a bunch of lotto tickets, you can get like a nice lunch for yourself, something, but it's or you can just get more comics. Um, so that to me is like the best deal. But my store had ordered it. I didn't know they ordered it. And then I'm like, well, I just didn't want to tell them that no, I don't want it, because then they'd be stuck. I don't know if they'd be stuck with it or not. Um, and sometimes you have to pay a little bit more to be good relations with your local comic shop. It's sort of like you can try to penny pinch, but then again, the store's gone out of their way and found things for me, and they've always given me absolutely great service. I chat with the manager, just friendly, not even about comics, online. They're good people. So, if I'm going to give somebody the money, I don't mind giving them the money. But yeah, that in stock trades price is the best. Yeah, I wouldn't. You're not going to get it cheaper than that unless somebody stole it off the back of a truck is willing to give you like half off deal. That's for fact. But so I have that coming out. War of Gaza. I have Ultra Heaven, that manga book, the first volume coming out. I have that as well. Um, I have a few titles coming out. Um, but like I said, um, I have that coming in, so I have all this. I spent a decent amount of money, and it's like, well, I mean, the fan of bucks isn't burning a hole in my pocket as much as it is, and I can always get the cabbie. I mean, I'm sure I can get it through in stock trades if I really want it, or something else at a later date. But let me get that list down, and then I'll feel better. Unfortunately, though, I've burned through a lot of the smaller graphic novels now. Um, I have these really long ones, like 400, 500 pages that are just going to be like, those are going to take time. What else? Well, listen, it is 10:45. I'm impressed that somebody's still on here. Um, so this is, like I said, totally unplanned. I appreciate the people that came on and chatted and let me know about some cool cartoonists, Italian cartoonists, and all that. I enjoy talking about comics. The comic scene in Miami is kind of really, as far for independent small press. Um, there's a lot of manga. There's a Barnes and Noble 2 miles away that has an amazing manga selection. I mean, really, really solid. And they have and their graphic novels section has gotten much better as of late. But so there are people that read them here, but not a lot of people are reading like independent. Like I said, Miami's more like pop culture kind of town when it comes to comics. So I appreciate anybody that's had the input and talked to me about these because I don't get a lot of that in person. I get that through online. It's just the way it is, and that's the way it's always been. Superheroes, Funko Pops, toys, trading cards, Magic the Gathering, and then but it actually helps because sometimes I've gone into stores that have this box. I guess they bought a lot of collections and they have this box where they have like all these old independent comics from the 90s and they're like 50 cents or $1. Like you just want to get rid of them. And that's where the gold is. Like sometimes you'll find like old Love and Rockets and you'll find things that are hard to find and you'll find them there for like nothing because to them it's worthless. The stuff they want to sell is like whatever superhero movie's coming out, that's what they want to sell. So a lot of times you'll find this really good stuff, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, well, oh yeah," and they'll probably think you're like, "Why are you buying this crap?" And it's like, no, this is the stuff that's hard to find and expensive when you find it. So when you can find it from the dollar bins, it's like a steal, you know, because when you go to the cons, um, they know what these guys know what's priced, so it's hard to find good stuff. And the last con I went to, there was one table that had all these dollar boxes, like 20 of them on the floor. And I looked down and my knee was giving me trouble. And I go, man, I am not getting on the floor. It wasn't worth it to me. Um, Old man problems. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining. I am going to shut down because it's almost 11 o'clock. I did want to record a video about Volume 4, 11 Rockets, and have to get ready for work tomorrow morning. But fortunately, I'm remote, so I can stay in a little bit. Ultra Heaven, yes, it looked really cool. Um, going to be a little harder to get. I'm probably going to go through a bookstore to get that. Once Diamond's probably going to shut down at the end of this month. Um, but I think Ultra Heaven looked really cool when I saw it solicited. So yeah, I'll be getting that tomorrow. So I'll be getting a lot of cool stuff. And if I get a chance to, if not tomorrow, maybe the next day, I'll do an unboxing video. Or at least I'll just talk about what I got. I tend to do that, and it's not more for like showing off, like, hey, look at all this cool stuff I got, because we all have cool stuff. It's more like somebody will sit there and say, "Oh, I didn't know that existed." I mean, it's happened to me where it's like, well, "What is that? I didn't know so and so had this book out," and then you find out, and then it's more for that. Yeah. Anyway, listen, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Thank you all very much. This is unexpectedly much longer, and I appreciate the engagement. Yeah, showing comics is always good. I think as long as you do it just because you're spreading the word. I mean, I know there's some people that sit there and say, "Oh, I have a 9.9 graded first appearance of Batroc or something," and they're like, "Oh, they're kinda like," you can tell they're like trying to show off how good their stuff is. It's like, man, everybody's got good stuff. Everybody has something that you look at and you're like, if you feel that sense of respect that they have it, and you feel that sense of envy that like, damn, they have that. man, I've been looking at it forever. And then everybody has that story of those books that they got for next to nothing, that are like, 50, $60 on the web, that kind of deal. It's just more of just showing stuff off, and just letting people in a way like, hey, look, this came in, this came out, and whatever. And I like to talk about them too, because again, I think it kind of helps. And it also helps me because when I'm reading them, I'm saying, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to start taking notes and like looking at stuff. And I think it made me appreciate certain creators and how certain things that work in comics and certain things that don't work in comics, or certain things that some people do that are really cool that, I don't have an art background. I've done a lot of photography in my life. So, I look at a lot of things that way, just things, the way that things are laid out, and just the presentation. I've done that quite a bit with a few videos with the Jaime Hernandez covers on these collections. Just some classic old school composition that still works today. Um, but sometimes I like to talk about why it works, and it's things that when somebody points out, you'll say, "Oh, that looks pretty cool," but if you don't know about it, you don't realize it. Um, and that's it. I hope all of you, thank you very much, everybody. And I hope all of you have a good night and, get through the week and, just take care of yourselves, man. We're living in interesting times, man. So take care and good night. Thank you.